Welcome back to the Deliberate Leaders Podcast. I am your host, Allison Dunn. Today, our podcast topic is personal brand building, how to go from entrepreneur to entrepreneur. Our guest is Dylan Vanas. He is a two-time eight-figure founder and business speaker that works with some of the world's biggest, largest, whichever way you want to say it, personalities and brands, with hundreds and thousands of followers across social media. He is also a writer for entrepreneur.com. He has been able to build relationships with some of the world's most influential people, all while impacting millions of people worldwide. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Love to kick these off with a deliberate conversation. What would be your number one leadership tip for our listeners today?
So I read a book called Extreme Ownership like 6 years ago, and that changed everything for me because I realized that, when we take accountability and accept responsibility for like everything that's happening around us, whether it was our fault or not, it gives us the ability to also change and create a different future. So for me, I think as a leader, as anyone who's an entrepreneur or building a business, taking extreme accountability for everything in your life is like the most important thing.
Yeah, I love that book, first off. Two, it is like a baseline of how I live my life as well. Like am I in a position of ownership of where I am at this moment at any given time? And it's funny when my thinking goes what I call like below that line of, going to making excuses or blame or, denying something, which I mean, we all do on occasion. It makes me lift myself back up to how can I own this? What's the next step? How do we move forward? So I love that. That is a fantastic tip. So your platform,
which by the way, on that, I love that as a baseline. I think like when we have like Tony Robbins talks about standards, right? That's like his big thing. And so when you have standards or baselines, like, and you fall below that, like you got to course correct quickly. And so I love that you have that. I think that's cool. I've never heard that before, but I like that that's your line.
Yeah. And it's so funny how I've now trained myself to self-edit and go, wait a minute, nope, I'm not going to give that as a reason, but like, how can I now move forward? It's a really powerful choice to make, which I love. So good. Thank you for that. And thank you for that fantastic tip. So personal brand, why is it so important in 2023?
I think everyone should be having a personal brand. We're seeing like the biggest companies in the world start to try to bring spokespeople into their brands. In fact, Shopify, they're like one of the number one e-commerce platforms on the planet. They've done a massive deal with Mr. Beast to have him be a spokesperson for them. Walmart and Target are starting to use spokespeople. And so what brands are realizing is that people and like individuals are more sticky than just some brand. Like if you go look at any social media account where there's a brand attached to a person, Tesla versus Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos versus Amazon, and you look at the social media followings of the company versus the person, well, the person always has more. Why? People resonate with people. We're not in a world of brands following brands. We're in a world of people following people. And so if you want your brand to stand out, you should be building it. Plus, it's like, they used to say a college degree is great because it's something no one can ever take away from you. Well, a personal brand is the modern version of that. It's something that you can, whether you're working on, you're selling pens today and you're selling watches tomorrow, you can always have a personal brand that follows you around your companies and your products.
Mm-hmm. As a entrepreneur, business owner, I struggle a little bit with putting my face to the company name. What is your philosophy on that? I know that it's really important for people to understand who I am because I am a major like product or service of a business, as are a lot of business owners. But what's the right balance, or is there no balance?
Some companies, they go out there and they like the person, like the individual just creates all the content. I don't necessarily love that either because now it's like you might as well just do it on your own page. So I've done talks for like I did one talk where I did a keynote at a B2B IT solutions conference. Okay. And I'm just like, and they're like, we want you to talk about building a personal brand. I was like, why? Like, you guys sell IT solutions, you don't need it. And they're like, that's the topic. I'm like, all right. So I went in and I was like, look, majority of people in this room, you guys don't want to build a personal brand. And I don't blame you. And so for that reason, like if you're not the person, like find someone in your company who can be the face of it. There's a lighting company. They're like a multi-nine-figure, hundreds of $1 million lighting company that I've done work with. And they found one guy in the company who went and created a little YouTube show, and it was called lighting it up with Jason or whatever it was. And he became the spokesperson. Then he left and someone else stepped in. And it's just like, it's fine, right? It's just like, massive news channels. They have the newscaster today and a different newscaster tomorrow. But if you can find someone to create content for your brand as an individual and not just like pictures and photos and stuff like that, that's the solution if you don't want to do it yourself.
Yeah. Dylan, I'm also super curious, like even just that example of speaking to the IT folks, it is important for them to also have their own personal brand. It just doesn't necessarily need to represent the company that they work for.
I think so personally. I'm a big believer in that. Like, think about how many strategic opportunities come from just being like a personal brand. You get to speak on stages, you get strategic applications. Like, it's just it's kind of like there's the people who have personal brands, and then there's like the rest of the world.
Yeah. Just to stick on this, same, like make sure that our path kind of meets, because we're going to pivot in a moment. What are some of the most effective social media marketing strategies that companies, almost regardless of what market they're in, they need to be using today?
So the way I look at social media is it's like a 3-pronged thing. On the bottom, you have like authority, where you need to like establish your authority there. It's like if you've got 17 followers and like 2 posts like that, you don't have that. So you need to like post content, you need to like, get that out there. You need to be able to get your follower count up. And then you move into level 2, which is like, what I'm actually saying, what's the story, what's the content I'm creating. And then the top, it's tapping into other audiences. So the most important thing, a lot of people don't realize this, brands and personalities, is that it is hard to grow organically in 2023. So what's the solution? Well, the solution is, why try to do it yourself when you could just tap into other audiences? And so Instagram, they have a feature called the collaboration feature. Many people know about it. They just expanded it to now 3 people. So you can actually collab with 2 people and your own page. And so anything you can do to try to expand and tap into other audiences, podcasts are a great way to do it. Speaking on stage is a great way to do it. Tapping into other people's email lists is a great way to do it. But I think that's the fastest way to grow and the cheapest way to grow, because you're also sharing your audience with other people too. So you don't have to pay for it.
Right. Okay. So collaboration is a key way to do it. I like how you've kind of set that up in stages where, you have to create your own authority, starting there. That's great. Share with us a little bit about your journey in creating your AgencyBox company and building that. And what advice would you give to others who are looking to build a successful software as a service company?
Yeah, so I have my own marketing agency called Mindful Agency. We blow up people's brands online. And then I have AgencyBox, which is like a software company that supports other marketing agencies. I think the thing is like, so I'm 28 right now. We've done over $20 million in sales for these 2 companies. I have 100 employees. Like, I've been able to build a relatively decent sized company, and it happened fast, like in the last 6 years. But what I was doing before that wasn't working was I was like trying to chase, like, let me just like, make money, or like, I'd see these Lamborghini gurus online and I'm like, I want to be that. The reality is when you just create a good product and bring it to the marketplace and like let people talk about it, it comes back around. And so whether it's a software company or, any kind of coaching company, whatever it is, it's important to focus on like product first. Let's create something that's good. Let's get it out there, but don't be a perfectionist, because there's a big issue with this where people try to make it the best thing ever. Like, don't do that. Just get something good, release it, and then you can iterate from there.
Okay. Congratulations on your success. And that is super impressive. I'm sure that in these past 6 years, you've faced some pretty good sized leadership challenges or hardships. Can you share one of your most significant leadership experiences or lessons that you've learned in shaping your approach to leadership?
So I had a like just over a year ago, I had a pretty significant obstacle come up in business. And over the next 6 months, I lost pretty much every single employee that I had. And so imagine going from and having to replace people, and it's just like, it's crazy. It's like, this is not I don't run a restaurant where you're known to have like crazy churn with employees. So for me, it was like, for going through the panic of like, what do I do? It came down to like now systems and processes, to the point where if someone were to leave, pretty much every area in the company is fully documented, where someone else could be trained up within a week and be able to do the role.
Right.
With the exception of me. So now we focus on that. It's like, it's all about systems and implementation. Like, if I want to sell my company one day, if anyone does, you're either going to sign a 10-year contract to work for the company forever, or you establish systems and processes now so that a buyer can look at it and say, okay, cool, this could be ran on its own. And at that's the only point when you have a real business, is when you get to that point.
Absolutely. Just to give maybe listeners context a little bit, because I know that others have had, staff leave in a mass exodus. What was the catalyst?
I had a scumbag partner. Yeah. And so that turned out to just kind of cause a domino of issues that led to that. Yeah. And I think that, look, the thing is, like, how do you prevent stuff like that? And how do you prevent, how do you make a company stable? It comes down to systems. Like, I thought I had good culture, right? Weekly, monthly game nights, I'm buying pizza and we're playing cards with the team. Every 3 months we'd go, Top Golf or bowling. Like, we're doing fun stuff. The team's excited. Everyone's making good money, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If I look at my org board, all my people that work for me right now, maybe I'll know 1 or 2 of them in 10 years. It kind of seems like a downer thing, the way to look at it. But end of the day, it's like, a business is in business to make money, to make profit. Like, that's the definition. And so your employees will leave. Most employees aren't loyal. They will leave you at the chance of a better opportunity. And so as a business owner, we do have to treat our business the same way. It's like, it has to be profit. It has to be profit driven. I am people first. Like, I treat my people amazing. But at the end of the day, like, if they're going to leave you, like, you should also set up systems to protect yourself in that event. I'm sorry if that sounds like doom and gloom, but
no, I think, being a business coach who works with people that, builds big teams, and when you lose someone or an asset being often our people, it hurts. But I think systems is the best approach to minimize some of the pain and suffering the company can go through with that loss. So I do appreciate that. I just want to highlight, because you've had some really significant success in your businesses, going from 0 to 10 million, and then obviously 0 to over 100 employees. What are some of the wisdom that you can enlighten us on, just the thinking that created that?
So I guess the formula for if I were to like break it down and be like, if I were to like start from 0, the step-by-step formula was 1, I created a product that was good enough. 2, instead of going out there and trying to like advertise and all this stuff, I found people who had an audience of my desired audience. And I struck up deals with them in negotiations where, hey, you send me referrals and I'll give you a kickback. And there's varying degrees of that, right? On like high margin services, you can give as much as like 50, some people do like 60, 70% kickbacks, but lower margin service, obviously I wasn't doing that. Highest I've ever done is like 50, but on lower margin services, we'll do like 5 to 10%. But what that does is it's like the lowest risk way to scale business, because now I have people just sending me buyers, and I had my first 300 customers come through like a partnerships. So, so that's that. And then on the back end, it's like, you got to get ready to deliver. And I think, so it's like promoting, getting people to come through, and then delivering, and just putting customer feedback first. So my philosophy is, if one person says it, there's probably 10 people thinking it that didn't say it. So let's listen and then improve. And then, when I had 100 customers and 10 people complained, it's like, okay, I improved. And then 1,000 and so on and so forth. And now I'd like to think we have a pretty good product.
Okay. So obviously, when you're listening, you're trying to find a software as a solution. Yes. Am I making that connection? Okay. Would love to know what are the last few things that you've listened for and then designed for to give people an idea of what they should be listening for. Because I know what you're saying, but I just want to give them an example or two.
So a lot of times people speak. The thing is, people don't necessarily always know their problem, which is why it's really important to survey your audience. And so for us, like we'll send out, we'll do like NPS, like net promoter score surveys, and we'll get our feedback. But then on the back end of any survey, we'll put questions, and maybe only 10% of people answer them. But it's like, what are the things what a product you wish you had? What are the other challenges you have? And you can take that, and as a business owner, you can kind of look and say, okay, here's the problem that people actually have. For me, I realized that a lot of the agency owners using our stuff, like they're like, we don't have leads. So I'm like, okay, let's solve it. So I went and created partnerships with data companies where we can actually buy the data from them and provide them to our agency owners to use to go contact and get new prospects. And then I built a little email tool where they can actually now take the leads and email them all inside the platform. And so I'm just taking the feedback, I'm understanding their true concern, and then I'm building solutions to help solve those problems.
Okay. And so I'm just curious, what is are you a designer or a database person? I mean, what's your talent? I mean, obviously relationships, clearly.
Good observation. Yeah, relationships is big. If I were to get rid of my ability to network and create relationships, I am really good. So I've done every part of this business. I created it. I literally was like day one support guy, day two marketer, day three, and on and on. So I know every part of the business. So for me, it's being able to connect the dots and be able to solve problems in it. I'm not, I'm good at sales, but I'm not the sales guy. Like I have a sales director. I'm good at tech, but I'm not like the tech guy. But I am a CEO, and the job of a CEO of a company is to be able to, a CEO does two things. One, they oversee the vision and they see the parts of the company. And two, they stand on the side of the company to push things forward and actually make sure things happen. And so as a CEO, those are my two duties. And I also have to be good at relationships. So that's a bonus.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. What do you see as your crystal ball of things that are evolving that will directly impact the direction you take your company?
So, the elephant in the room, AI, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, we've been building and establishing AI solutions. I think anyone who looks at AI and they're like, it's not going to affect me, it's not going to affect my business, like you're being ignorant, or you just quite frankly don't know. And to look at how far it's come in just the last 2 years, and to say in 25 years it won't be able to do 99% of everything in the world is foolish. And so as a business owner, what I'm doing is I'm building AI driven solutions and learning AI so that I can help support my customers. If you're a real estate agent, what would be the best thing to do? Well, the best thing to do would be able to figure out, how can AI help my buyers find better houses? How can we do that? Because you can use it for your own business, but that's only a short-term solution. The real thing is, how can you use it to better support your customers? Because there's a lot of buyers out there, I'm one of them, who I'm going to ask the people I'm buying from, what are you using? How are you using AI to support me? And if you're someone who's using it, even if you're freaking writing the emails with AI, I want to know that, because I know you're being more efficient than the person who's not.
Yeah. Okay. Outside of AI, is there anything else that you're focused on that's as key?
Yeah. Definitely content. So we're in an era of content, and every brand, every business needs to be posting content. We do, over 100 pieces of content a month, just between my personal page and my company pages. And I just think every company there's a tool called Opus Pro. It's a video editing tool where you put in a long form piece of content, it chops up into like 15 pieces, adds the captions, Like, there's no excuse to not be making content now when you can literally use these free AI tools to do it.
Yeah. Excellent point. Well, it sounds like you are a very busy person. And so that always leads me to the question of, can you share how you balance your personal and professional life and kind of maintain that healthy work-life balance?
I mean, healthy is
Good.
probably an overstatement. But yeah, so for me, I wake up at between 5 and 5:30 every day, and my time actually starts the night before. So I have what's called a remarkable, and you look like you also have one. Awesome, nice, cute. So for me, I plan tomorrow today. I write out like my BHAG, my big, hairy, audacious goal. What's the main objective for the day? And then I have the tasks that I'm going to accomplish. I wake up, I meditate, I hit the gym, and then I go in and I work. And for me, balance for me is meditation, gym, and then spending time with my family and my dogs, which is cool as well. And I try to do that for at least a few hours in the evening.
All right. Very cool. Thank you. It does sound like you have more balance than I'd say most do. Dylan, what you're creating today, do you have an idea of what it looks like when you are finished with it?
So what I'm working on right now, yeah, we're building it. I'll have an exit at some point. And then maybe another company that I'll exit for, I guess, 10x, whatever that was.
Okay.
But once I'm finished with the work side of things and creating value in the marketplace, my goal is to be able to get like a ranch or purchase like, a big lakefront property and host retreats and masterminds for people to come and be able to grow and develop. Because for me, when I was 16, I went to a leadership camp that changed my life. I learned about these things called core values and goal setting and time management, the stuff that you need to succeed that's not taught in school. And I think just if more of society was taught success principles and frameworks to be able to grow and develop, more people would be productive members of society. And plus it'd be a lot of fun to be able to just host masterminds and retreats all the time.
For sure. I'm curious, will you include a segment of that, one or two, for some 16-year-olds to have the power that you were given at that age?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, we want to also, whatever changed our lives, we want to be able to give that to other people as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Dylan, thank you so much. Folks who are listening today, I just want to make sure I'm going to include ways to contact Dylan and how to follow him in my show notes. And I just so appreciate your time and sharing of your story. Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks so much.